Tonight on the live stream of consciousness, I will be talking to Rich L from KW Team Legendary. Hey, you made it. I made it too. I'm so grateful that you made it. I'm so grateful that I made it so we could be here together in this moment on the live stream of consciousness. I'm Michael Zinn, and welcome to it. This is the moment. This is another Thursday, the live stream of consciousness I created to enjoy your company, enjoy the company of a wonderful guest, have some great conversations, and just be really intentional with the moment. I see Tim out there. What is up, Tim in Brazil? What is up, Ninja Kitty? My two favorites, always there for me. I appreciate you guys being here. But like I said, welcome. If you are watching this live or if you're watching the replay, welcome. I brought my special subscription bell. So if you are new, just make a comment that you have subscribed on the YouTube channel, and I will ring the bell for you, and we'll have a blast ringing that bell. Anyway, I am here today with another wonderful guest. I don't know if you guys remember a few weeks back, the guest I had who is a real estate agent, which was kind of a bit of a departure for this show. I normally talk to spiritual healers and Akashic records readers, and the kinds of people that I talk to, and this year I changed it up. I started talking to musicians and poets and all sorts of people, and now I am talking to real estate agents, which I'm finding a very interesting crossover in lifestyle. So if you remember Jordan from a few weeks ago, again, his whole philosophy was based on mindset and intention and all of those things. He's a coach, and tonight's guest is very, very similar. I gotta wet my whistle here before I introduce him. He is a mindfulness coach as well, and incorporates the whole idea of what is mindfulness, being mindful, into his daily life and into his practice. And I'm excited to talk to him. Jordan mentioned him and said we would get along. We had a couple of conversations. He's come down to the studio before, and we definitely are on the same page with a lot of things. So welcome to the live stream of consciousness. Rich L, how you doing, my friend?
I welcome you all. Thank you very much for me being here and taking your time out to welcoming me to your special event podcast.
I'm really glad that you came here, and I'm glad that Jordan introduced us. Like I said, we're on the same vibration. We certainly look at life very similarly and try to get the best out of it. I want to talk about you and what you do and your mindfulness coach and all of that stuff. But there's a routine we go through here on the live stream of consciousness. Okay. And Tim in Brazil is saying, "Hola, Rich." And that routine is first answering the question, what the heck are we even talking about? What is consciousness?
Well, we all have our own definitions towards consciousness, right? To me, it's a power of self-awareness, mm-hmm. right? Where we need to connect to our own intelligence. We have to be aware of what we are doing in life and what our purpose is to serve us and ourselves and our family and loved ones. Mm-hmm. What are we doing, right? That's a simple question. The moment you start to tap into that question of what are we here for and what are we doing, it starts to engage your consciousness automatically. It's a self-awareness, in other words.
That's a
Right?
great answer. I love that. Yeah, it's a tough question, and there are so many ways to look at the answer, and that's what I love about the question, because all of the answers go together. They all kind of describe everything, and some people come to it from the individual, some people come to it from the collective, some people come to consciousness as the spaces in between everything.
Right.
So I think it's all of that stuff, which is so cool to ask everybody, everyone's different perspective, and get that answer.
Definitely.
Awesome. All right, so there's you passed the first test. The second question really kind of gets us into who you are, and kind of a little bit about your beliefs. I like to ask people if there's a specific story or memory that they have where a moment that they realize that kind of the 3D life and the things you're taught in school are not necessarily all there is to it.
Right.
There's more to it. Is there a specific moment you remember coming to that realization?
As a child, I would always question things, right? There are different type of peoples, but generally speaking, if you narrow it down, there are two type of peoples, right? There are one that's are followers, right? Nothing's wrong with them. It's fine. It's perfectly fine, right?
Hmm.
It's easy. Life becomes very easy when you start to follow things because they're done in a certain way. You just follow the recipe and keep on moving forward and start listening and just, life is simple in that way.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
And there's some people that like to question things on why things are happening the way they are happening, right?
Hmm.
I come from a background, we have so many gods, right? Then I've listened to and looked at people that have so many, they believe in so much of, Holy Spirits. And I respect that a lot.
Hmm.
You get to learn so much from that.
Hmm.
But when you look around, everybody's miserable, or almost everybody has some
Hmm.
situation going on where they're not 100% true to themselves and they're not connected within.
Right.
Right? They're looking for some kind of answers outwards.
Hmm.
And since I was a kid, I used to ask questions all the time. And there came to a point in my life where I my life started to ask way much more questions than I could handle myself.
Hmm.
And everybody that told me that said believe in something and your all your answers will be answered. And that was perfectly fine, but my problems weren't going away.
Hmm.
I didn't know how long it was going to take. There was no clarity. So I had to actually dive into meditation
Hmm.
because I wasn't getting clarity. And once I started diving into meditation, somehow, some way, I came across some video, and I was like, what I have to lose?
Hmm.
And I sat down, and that since then it's been about, I would say, 15 to 18 years now,
Okay.
close to 20 years. Actually, no, 20, wait, a bit more than 20 years, a
Okay.
little bit more than 20 years, where meditation became my way of life.
Hmm.
And that kind of guided me through to calm myself down, collect myself, and get connected with my own intelligence of letting myself know which is the right path to take.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, before I was very disturbed because I wasn't getting any answers, right?
Hmm.
But once the clarity came, I mean, the clarity for I didn't have all the answers, but at least I have some kind of path to follow.
Hmm. Hmm.
And meditation really helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
It was a key
Yeah.
to success in my own self, within my own self. I'm not talking about making billions, millions, and billions. I'm talking about being connected to my own inner self.
Right.
And since then, I've helped a lot of people too at the same time
Right.
because I've been through the journey of highs and lows.
Hmm.
And once you go through the journey, automatically you start to engage with people because you kind of sense it that you're going through it too, right?
Yeah.
You could relate to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just about reading books and following and learning from others. It's about collecting all pieces of life from everybody, learning from everything that there is, respect everything that there is.
Right.
Because we all created.
Yeah.
We have to respect human beings, right?
Totally, totally. Yeah, and you said a bunch of cool things there that I want to touch on. I think one of the first things that I say to anybody, when they're kind of looking to, how do you find this kind of calmness? How do you find this peace? You know, when people ask me what they should do, the first thing I say is meditation. And I think meditation, like you said, that's kind of the simplest thing that you can do. And I think a lot of people are afraid of meditation. They say, "Oh, I can't meditate. I can't shut my mind off." And you explain to them that's not really what you're trying to do at all. Is shut your mind off. You know what I mean? You're trying to be actually aware of everything at once, right? But I think another important thing that you said there was, with religion and kind of the things that we are taught about different gods and stuff, where you mentioned, you respect that, and there certainly is a lot to be learned by that.
Of course,
Um,
yeah.
and then you got to a point where you're like, people said you just got to believe in something and you'll be all right, and you said okay, and you gave up and you said, I'm going to believe in something, but it still didn't seem to work. But I think what the meditation did was showed you a different perspective to that question, and it was maybe that you were looking to believe in something outside of yourself, and it was when you realized that what you needed to believe in was inside yourself,
Definitely.
everything changes. That
Everything changes.
that's the moment. Yeah, so that's what I got out of what you said, and I'm like, I heard it. I heard that journey and that realization. Um and so how did you start meditating? You said you just kind of found some stuff online and you just.
So yeah, so simple way of meditation. See, I've done it for so many years, and people make it too complicated because they don't know. It's okay.
Hmm.
That's perfectly fine. Once you don't know, it's a great thing that you want to find out.
Hmm.
Once you know something, you stop looking,
Right.
right? So you stop becoming a seeker.
Right.
As long as you're a seeker, that means you're a learner, and you don't mind taking information and grow from there, right?
Hmm.
So simply put, meditation is a concentration of a focus towards your breathing. That's it.
Hmm.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Hmm.
Thoughts will come. It's by nature thoughts have to come because your brain is functioned. It's a machine.
Right.
It has to function to give you thoughts.
Right.
Now, it's like a puppy or untrained horse.
Hmm.
So you have to put a saddle on it. You have to tell the puppy which way to go and how to do it, and not to use bathroom at home. We gotta go outside.
Right. Right.
Those things,
Right.
right?
It's training. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to train.
Yeah.
Untrained mind is a very destructive and disturbed mind.
Hmm.
Thoughts will come because the job of a puppy is to make sure it runs around because it has so much energy,
Right.
right? But
Right.
it's our job as our conscious kicks in where we're like, take a deep breather
Hmm.
because we are two people within us, right? There's a spirit,
Hmm.
right? That we need to tap into, and many cannot because the mind is so powerful because running so fast.
Hmm. Hmm.
So our spirit has to tell us, our consciousness has to tell it.
Hmm.
First, we have to get connected by breathing.
Hmm.
Bre- Breathing is actually called a sutra. I don't know if you know that.
I've heard the word sutra in different terms, but I didn't know that the root of it was breathing, breath.
No, actually, sutra means thread.
Okay.
And what sutra does is it connects your internal intelligence
Hmm.
and it connects your spirit,
Hmm.
right? So your internal intelligence is sitting somewhere inside your brain that you need to tap into,
Right.
that you can't get to.
Right.
And your spirit is the one that needs to get connected to it.
Hmm.
And a lot of times the sutra is so fine, it's like a silk thread,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
like that. It's like a spider's web, right? So it's like so thin that it's one of the most powerful threads out there, but at the same time it's so weak that you could pull it, you could break it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the way to connect it is by breathing.
Hmm.
And breathing is the only exercise in the world that could connect you to your internal intelligence, that is your consciousness, and your spirituality, the spirit that you have inside you, on
Hmm.
what you want to do in life and what you want to become.
Hmm.
Because we all are gifted,
Yep.
right? We all have our own gifts, right? Somebody has a gift of speaking, somebody has a gift of nurturing, somebody has a gift of coaching, somebody has a gift of guiding, somebody has a gift of leading, right? We
Yep.
all have our gifts. Somebody has a gift of mathematics or
Right.
observing information and
Some
get and making.
building. Some people build things.
Some people build things, right?
Yeah.
So to tap into the internal gift, we have to get those two things connected no matter what happens.
Hmm.
And if those things are not connected, we are disturbed completely
Hmm.
because there's so much disconnect. So this is your consciousness, right? And this is your brain. If they don't connect, your internal intelligence doesn't connect and doesn't tell you what to do, and take actions to benefit your own self, automatically you'll have so much different thoughts within that.
Hmm.
And you end up losing yourself
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
your thoughts are not being connected and they're
Right,
not being channeled or filtered.
right, right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and some things are kind of. We were talking about this earlier. Some things are coming to me, and this is, my meditation teacher early on was a guest on the show, Stephen Durante, and one of the metaphors he used to talk about was the hamster wheel of life, right?
Yes.
That we're all on, and you're right. You were kind of saying like, everybody's miserable, you know what I mean? And I think those people, and I don't believe everybody's miserable, because you and I, we there are these spiritual communities of people who have actually been able to get off of that hamster wheel, right?
Right. I
Through
mean, not everybody, but some.
no, I know what you meant. I know what you meant. And that's actually part of what I want to say. But there's something to this metaphor of the hamster wheel being life, and being able to kind of get off of that hamster wheel. Because if you think about the metaphor of the hamster wheel, you run and run and run and run it, and you never get anywhere. You know what I mean? You
And
never, I mean, you're just running and running and running. And,
right.
what email do I have to answer? What do I got to do next? After I answer my email, what do I got to do? Who am I having lunch with? This, that, and it's constantly going.
It keeps on.
Yeah. And meditation was a way to take a step off that hamster wheel intentionally, like focus your intention on, all right, I'm going to take a step off. And the idea of thoughts were going to happen, was allowed. Like, let them happen, but like clouds happen, right? Like, just
Yeah.
watch it, say, oh, there's a thought, watch it fade by, and don't necessarily jump into it and, dissect it and get involved with the thought.
Right.
Uh,
It's just it's we have to figure out what can we do and how can we think to benefit ourselves at every breath of the way.
right,
Right. Every breath should be a beneficial breath to ourselves.
right.
Right. That makes us think of every breath, meaning every thought should be beneficial to us
Hmm.
in the way we speak, in the way we interact, who we surround ourselves by, what food we eat, where do we go, type of people we talk to, the type of business or the work that we do, the type of environment we want.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
all interacts with the type of breathing we want,
Hmm.
you know? Because breathing, and think about it, right? Like, let's just say when you get hurt, or somebody gets hurt, or a child gets hurt,
Right,
what's the first thing you tell? Take a deep breather, it's okay, everything is going to be okay.
right. That's right.
Somebody's going through anxiety, or somebody's going to a panic attack, or something is happening where everybody's hyperventilating. To calm the situation down, what do you say? Take a deep breather.
Hmm.
Everything will be okay. Let's figure it out.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because if you're hyperventilating and you're breathing so fast, automatically you're not being concentrated.
Right.
But the moment you start to control your breathing, that means you start to control your thoughts, and you will start coming up with answers. It's by nature,
That's
it's the
right.
law of nature.
Right. Right. So that, I want to talk a little bit more about this. Like, we've talked about meditation on the show before, but I feel like really connected. I kind of feel like drawn to talk specifically about it, because I do feel like a lot of people struggle with how to do it, right? And I feel like you're hitting on some things where I totally get it, because I've been there and done it. And I think the thing with breathing and concentrating on your breathing that's so cool, and that actually works for me, what works for me is, and Steve would say this too, is that you don't have to think about breathing is something that just happens. So when you close your eyes and you're meditating and you're focusing on your breathing, and you're actually specifically trying to think about your breathing and being like, oh, look, I'm breathing in through my nose, I can feel it, and you're focusing on the whole action of the breath, in and out and in and out. And that's really what meditation is. That's how you, like you said, that allows you to connect with that thread, to the
Yes.
brain part, to the spirit part.
It's a sutra, right? That builds a bridge between them, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
let me, and I'll make it so easy for your listeners and anybody that if you want to give advice to, and if they cannot focus on their breathing and they're having extremely hard time and they think meditation is not for them,
Hmm.
there's one simple exercise you could do right before meditation. Start doing jumping jacks. The people who cannot focus and the ones who don't think they could meditate,
Hmm.
not a problem whatsoever. start doing jumping jacks. Do a couple of
Okay.
push-ups, do jumping jacks, do some kind of activity that pumps your blood in your heart.
Okay.
Automatically, your breathing goes high.
Right.
The moment your breathing goes high, what happens is you start to breathe a lot.
Right.
And automatically you sit down because you're tired and exhausted. Close your eyes because you're naturally your body's going to breathe. You cannot fight that.
Right.
You cannot be like, oh, let me control my breathing. You cannot
Right. Your
control that.
heart's up, your blood's pumping, and you're physiologically, your whole body's moving
You
at that.
cannot go against the nature of law.
Right.
Automatically, your body is going to be pumping blood.
Right.
So you sit down and focus on the natural breathing that your body is throwing out and in, throwing
I
out and
like
in,
that.
throwing
Yeah,
out
I
and
like
in.
that.
Automatically, your body is going to go into that function mode within, I would say, and start counting them if you can. If not, it's okay.
Right.
But I would say within a minute, you'll go into a meditation mode
Right,
automatically.
right, right, right. No, I love that idea what you're saying, because I think at that point, like you said, your breathing and the physiological side of it is so pumped up that it makes it almost easier to, oh, I could concentrate on it because it's right here in my face. It's right.
Because you can't hide from it. You can't run
Yeah,
away
yeah,
from it.
exactly.
Another
Yeah,
one we could do is somebody who is not physically fit and they cannot move around too much, or
yeah,
if they're handicapped, they can't move.
yeah.
They could simply sit down, whatever they're doing, laying down or sit down, and they could pump their stomach with air in and out really fast. It's
Okay,
called dragon breathing.
okay. I've heard that. Yeah,
Right? So when they do dragon breathing, it's in and out of air from your stomach, nothing more. You're not moving your legs, you're not jumping around like monkeys, and you're not doing any physical activity other than just moving your belly in and out
hmm
with pressure of air going in and out of you. That's
quickly.
all.
Right.
It doesn't matter what sequence you're doing it in. If you're doing it wrong, you're doing it right. It doesn't matter what it is what you're doing, as long as you're pumping your stomach
hmm
and taking air out and in of your body.
hmm hmm
Automatically, your body gets exhausted.
hmm
And once your body gets exhausted, when and you're sitting down, automatically you will see the vibrations, the frequencies. Your body starts to vibrate on a certain frequency automatically.
hmm
Your organs will start to shake from inside.
hmm hmm
Your nerve endings, your blood will pump, and
Right.
you will feel it. Your
Yep.
cheeks, you will feel it in your cheeks, in your
Yeah.
jaw,
Yeah. Yeah.
because so much air is flowing because your body's not used to that much air at one time.
Right.
Your brain will open up automatically, and just focus on and just be quiet at that moment, and just focus on the breathing going in and out, because you
Yeah.
can't do nothing else other than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
automatically your
love
brain starts
that.
to look.
Yeah. I love that, because you're like I said, you're almost exaggerating those things so that you can't hide from it, and it's like it makes it so much easier to concentrate on it. And even as you were describing it from the jumping jacks, it's like if you focus in on your breath, which is going to be, very quick and hurried, and but you'll actually be able to focus on it calming down as it's getting slower and slower, and you're like, oh, more and more you feel the more and more comfortable. Now it's not
Yes.
so like there's not like the anxiety with it, that like, yeah, that's those are great suggestions for people who are having trouble meditating. And so many people say that, right? When you're like, oh, do you meditate? No, I can't do that, I can't do that. So many people, you know
Meditation is nothing than a deep breathing. It's a concentration of breathing. That's in and out. That's it.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's what will get you there. I think that's the basic part of it. You can add to that practice and do
And I'll
different
and
things.
I'll tell you something else. Once people start doing that,
Yeah.
they could literally heal themselves.
hmm
For example, if they're having a chronic pain or some kind of sickness they have in their body or in their mind or whatever it is within the physique of whatever it is they want to heal, or a wound that they have or
hmm
fracture they have, if you start to think from positive notes, automatically your body starts to work for your own self rather than
hmm
working against you. Because the purpose of life itself is two things: to figure out what your gift is,
hmm
to give yourself value so you could focus on that so you could feel complete.
hmm hmm
And before that is to focus on how to think beneficial thoughts for yourself and how to heal yourself.
hmm hmm
Because the brain is a very powerful tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you start to, and I've done it, I'm live experience of it, where I've done experiment on myself and I have attracted things.
Nice.
and I have healed myself. There was a time when doctor was like, you have to be on pills, and
Hmm.
we still don't know if we could cure you. I said, you know what? I took the prescription, I gave it right back to the doctor. I said, give me some time. And I worked on myself. It took me some time to adapt to it, to learn from it,
Right.
learn to do what needs to get done.
Right.
But it healed me so much that the doctors had given up on me.
I was going to ask you to tell me the story. So I think, and that's again kind of a lot of the stuff that I love to talk about is the power of intention and the power of thoughts and the power of even words. You know, the different experiments that have been done with water and Doctor, what's his name, Makeo, or
Mhm.
you know, I mean, all of that stuff is so fascinating and also just like obvious evidence of what you're talking about, right? The power of your own mind.
It's
um,
next level, brother. I tell you, like I've experienced it myself, and it's nobody comes down and heals you, and
mhm,
you cannot go to any place that heals you, and you cannot go to doctors that could heal you if you
mhm,
don't know how to heal your own self.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And that's the bottom line. If you're able to heal yourself, all the other powers want to heal you.
Right.
But if you cannot heal yourself, you could try anything you want to.
Right.
The belief has to be there, and the practice has to be there, and the determination has to be there, and the
Right.
discipline for you to make sure that you do good for your own self has to be there.
Right. You know what, it's interesting. It's I don't know if I'm getting a message now or something, but like what I'm feeling from what you're saying is I'm just seeing all of the people who haven't seen that, who are just so kind of don't even understand what that means in a way. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, taking care of yourself is as simple as, so I drink water, right? And I try
Mhm.
to drink it out of a glass vessel as much as possible instead of a plastic bottle. Listen, I sometimes need convenience. I'm guilty of that. But for the
It's
when
okay.
I
It's
with
human, right?
right, I'm human, and I'm in different conditions all the time. But when I can be intentional about it, I have glass and I have it fresh filtered water. And I've been drinking it with lemon, right? I've been putting lemon in it because that's really good for you. And it's so simple, and it's just an example of being aware of like what you put in your body, because so many people are just on that hamster wheel, going to work, stopping at this place, stopping at that place, getting their food, and all of this stuff, which again, I'm not putting anybody down. It's the way we've been brought up, and I have so much compassion for people who are on that hamster wheel and don't even realize that they're on that hamster wheel. I don't judge them. I'm not looking like, oh man, you're an idiot. Like I have compassion for them. You know what I
If you
mean?
don't know, you don't know.
Yeah,
That's it's just
exactly,
it's
exactly.
just one of those things.
So what I was going to say was recently I discovered my girlfriend bought like a ginger root,
Okay,
and I was like, you know what? I know how to like make a nice thin slice of it, and I know I could smell it, and I was just like, there's some power here. There's something here, and I started putting just that in the water instead of lemon, and I love it. It's just like
I love ginger. I'll tell you something. I love ginger.
just ginger and water, and it's like it's ginger ale without the fizz. It's great.
Before you take a sip, I'll tell you something.
Okay,
Take a deep breather.
okay. Hold on. Let me shake out a little bit here. Relax.
Grab a cup with both hands,
Okay.
and the sip you're gonna take, pretend it's healing you every time. Every drop that's going inside your body, it's healing you.
Love that. I
And
love
just take a sip and just enjoy the water, enjoy the sip, enjoy the fragrance, and it's healing you.
it. Oh, that's it, brother. That's it. That's the key right there. And all you really did there was really make me focus on that moment. That's all I was doing, because in that moment you knew that the fragrance of the ginger water was going to hit my nose, and the taste and the refreshing, but it was just focusing on that moment that just made it so perfect. Thank you, man. That was awesome.
And then what happens is, I'll tell you something. Water has
Only,
power, so
only,
do you. Our
yes.
body's made out of 72% of water. Our earth is made out of 72% of water.
So good.
And what happens with that is, every time you take a sip, and you give itself a thought, hold it for a couple of seconds, like 5 seconds or 3 seconds, tell them it's going to heal you, right? Believe in it, talk to it. Like
Mhm.
once we start to get older, we start to become too smart,
Mhm.
and too smart becomes too stupid because we stop imagination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like little kids, we have to start getting in tune
I
with our
didn't even think
imagination.
of that. I didn't even think of that, how that was involved in that moment until you just said it. And really it was, because I'm just taking in the fragrance. I'm going somewhere else into a ginger field for a millisecond
And
there.
I bet you your nostrils opened up.
Yeah, yeah. And Tim says I love ginger, especially crystallized ginger. I haven't seen that. But
The reason your
yeah.
nostrils opened up because your mind sensed that you were taking something in that's healing you,
Hmm. Hmm.
and the ginger flavor got enhanced a lot more because your mind was more aware,
Hmm.
rather than listen to anything else or be distracted with any other thoughts. It was more concentrated towards that you're being healed, and the
Right.
moment you're being healed, automatically the ginger level went up.
Hmm.
And wherever you're having issues in your body, automatically it's going to hit those points. It's like Advil, it hits those point of painkillers, but this water is going to start hitting those points where it's going to start healing you automatically if
I
you
love
start
that.
thinking in that manner of the water is healing you, because
I'm
our
definitely
body's
going
made
to
out of
start
water,
doing that.
right?
Yeah.
Earth is made out of water,
Yeah.
and what we put, water can capture it. I don't know if you know that.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
have done experiments on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually somebody told me this and I started practicing it, and it's there's definitely something there for me in it, and that is when I get in the shower, I'm already thanking the water, and before, and when I feel the water hit me, it's just like I connect to it. I can feel it and
Yes.
connect to it because I'm thanking it and I'm being grateful for it, and I'm honoring, like you said, the power of it. Because for me, water is almost like one of the few things we have here in the three-dimensional realm that represents consciousness to me, because of the way it flows and the way that you can take a drop out of that water and it's got its own individuality, but it's also still a part of the water. It
Right.
represents consciousness in so many ways for me. So what you're saying really makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Tim is saying Sonia uses ginger root a lot here in Brazil. She made me a tonic for my cold with ginger, honey, lemon, onion, garlic, and mint. That sounds awesome.
That's on point. The recipe that you just mentioned, that's awesome. You gotta send me the recipe. I gotta try it out. I know it sounds amazing right now.
And it's weird because even just reading it, and you and I can feel it. We're just like, oh yeah, look, listen to all that stuff. That's all good stuff right there.
Oh, it is definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love raw onion. I mean, I remember as a kid, I would take bites like an apple. Like I would eat a raw onion. It was just, I just loved it, and it's so
yeah,
organic. It's just a way to connect with the earth.
yeah.
It's just, it really is.
Right.
So I love what you're saying. You've already given me some great ideas. I love the idea of really savoring the moment when you're drinking something like just as simple as ginger water. I also very often will put a couple of drops of honey in my water too. And I keep thinking, I'm like, it's got to be easy to bottle this stuff and sell it because it's so amazing. I mean, how come
I've been thinking about it for years. I'll tell you something.
oh yeah,
For years, I've been thinking about it.
maybe we need to start a business together, because I know I don't really see it out there so much. I mean, I know it probably exists in some forms, but if we came up with the right, like, marketing and the right approach, and both of our intentions are pure with it. It's not like, hey man, we want to rip everybody off. We want to share the wonder of it with
I mean,
everybody.
I'll tell you something out of the box. I'm very creative, and I think a lot of things out of the box. So
Yeah.
many times it's very hard for me to relate to a lot of average people
Yeah.
because they're like, "Oh, you just nonsense." I'm like, "I know I am, but nonsense. I love the nonsense because that's who I am, right?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll tell you something. What I actually wanted to do was, the mint, ginger, mint, honey.
Hmm.
There are a few herbs that I want to put into water
Yeah.
that are like very healthy for your body,
Hmm.
natural, no garbage, right?
Right. Right.
At the same time, I want to have a big vessel, and if we could have, I actually want to do this in the future. I don't know if that's going to be feasible or not, but I'm working towards it. I want to have an energy center. right?
Okay.
Where there's water, people come sit and meditate,
Hmm.
and they give purity to the water. They give their energies and positive energies to the water.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And people get to drink it. They hold on to it, they drink it, and they get healed with that. And it should be mint, and it should, and if you could bottle it up and sell it, or either give it for free, whatever the case might be, I don't know. I don't have a clear plan.
Right.
But I really want to have a sanctuary, a meditation center, or
Hmm.
an energy center where people could simply just come and simply just be. And if they
Hmm.
need any kind of guidance towards the nature of themselves, to connect to their who they are in reality, in real
Hmm.
life,
Hmm. Hmm.
and forget about the world for a few moments, I would love to help them out. Positive quotes
Yeah.
all over the place. And if I could devote a couple of my hours, and their other teachers or leaders can devote a couple of the hours of the time to guide people, or you just come to a place and sit down and just simply be quiet and just meditate.
Right. That no,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing, Rich. And I don't think it's so far fetched or crazy. And actually, I think that's really forward thinking to even think of the idea. And I mean, I certainly believe in the idea that you can, infuse water with energy. And if you say you're having people come there to meditate and purposely put their good intentions and good thoughts into the water, I mean, that's next level shit right there.
Yeah, at the same
you
time,
know what
like I don't know if you know, if, like sounds can modify
Absolutely.
water
Oh,
molecules. You know that,
absolutely.
right?
Well, we've talked about cymatics here before, and the whole idea of with cymatics, I think again, you don't have to be a scientist, right, to see that with cymatics, like holy crap, certain vibrations actually move matter into these sacred geometry patterns. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like it's not hard to have to prove it, right?
Even
It's
it's as
there.
simple as this, right?
Yeah.
The water that you're drinking, right? Anybody could pick up a glass of water like this, hold on
Yeah.
to it for a couple of seconds, take a couple of deep breathers,
Yeah.
and just tell the water, "You're healing me, and
Yeah.
I'm being healed every time I take a sip from this glass."
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it, feel it, imagine it, pretend you're a
Mhm.
little kid.
Right.
Just pretend.
Right. And you're making a potion. Yeah.
You're making a potion and you're drinking it and you're healing. And every time it goes down, you're like, oh my God, I'm feeling so amazing from it.
It's such a
The
wonderful
energy and
thought,
the
man.
frequency and the emotion and the feeling that you give it, oh my God, the world gets created by these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. So I'm hoping that you're going to give me a good answer here. Tell me about so you've been very healthy over the last bunch of years since you've discovered this. You don't usually get sick. You're yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to have horrible allergies.
Mhm.
I got, when I was young, I had meningitis, right? I don't know if
Mhm.
you know about that, right? Like you
No,
don't know what meningitis is. Meningitis could paralyze a person,
pretty
take their leg
serious.
off,
Yeah.
body parts off.
Right. Right.
It impacts their brain, right? So I slowed down a lot. I was way much more sharper than what I am today.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I'm coming back to it, right? So I'm coming
Yeah.
back to myself because I know how I was,
Right. I was going to say you seem pretty sharp to me. So
right? I was a lot more sharper than this,
right.
you
Wow.
know? But I'm coming back to it because I knew who I was and I am connecting to my old self because of meditation. If it wasn't for meditation, I wouldn't be here,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? But at the same time, it's just you connect to yourself. You had meningitis and you start to remember who you are because of meditation. I remembered how I was because my memory wasn't that strong in the middle
Hmm.
of my certain years of my life.
Okay.
And then something happened in my life. There was a big change in my life where I went through a certain period where I got so stressed and I got sick.
Hmm.
And doctors told me I could have gone, I might have ulcer, I might have ulcerative colitis, I might have Crohn's. They couldn't figure it out.
Hmm.
I spent so much money out of my pocket. I didn't have health care. I spent tons of money.
Wow.
I went to all the doctors, all the heliopathic doctors, all the Ayurvedic doctors. I went to a lot of places, right? I went to church, I went to temples. I went to, like, I spent a lot of money, a lot of time. I wasn't being fixed.
Hmm. Hmm.
And my one of the doctors, like I said, I told you this, I mentioned this before in this while in the podcast we were talking. My doctor said, I'll give you a prescription, you got to take it 3 times a day, and
Hmm.
we still don't guarantee if you're going to get fixed.
Hmm. Hmm.
from that point on, I took everything back and I said, you know what? I don't need anything. I'm going to work on myself
Right.
and I'm going to heal myself.
Hmm.
And right after that, I started watching my diet.
Hmm.
I started triggering and I started realizing, what triggered me? Stress and spice. So I
So
said,
yeah, I guess I want to be a little bit clearer on what happened at that moment. Like, was it something inside you that said, "Hey, stop looking outside and look inside"? Like what? Because
I
that's
was looking
again,
for answers,
right,
and sadly, nobody had answers for me.
right,
And I'm a person who needs answers.
right,
I cannot follow you unless until you give me clarity.
right,
If you give me anything out of the, like anything on a fluff scale and make me and want me to believe something that is not there for me
right,
to experience it right there and then,
right.
it's hard for me to take that information in because I don't know what I'm holding on to.
I gotcha. So it took a while for the doctors to even say like they were giving you stuff and you were trying stuff and they were like, "Oh, this is going to work." But when he finally said to you, "I don't know if this is going to work," you were like, "Then why am I going to even go there?" Like,
Like, I went to a lot of doctors. I'll tell you, I spent a lot of money out of
yeah,
my pocket. I
yeah.
didn't even have it at that time. I was completely broke and I was running my credit card.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But I just wanted to be fixed.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
And after going to doctors and they're doing whatever they wanted to do, all the tests that they were running, I was paying out of my pocket. I spent money on that.
Right.
And I was on debt.
Right.
But
So
I just
how
wanted to be fixed.
so how long did it take from the moment you decided to fix yourself to when you actually started seeing results and said, "Oh, wait a second, this is what I should have been doing the whole time"?
It took me years.
Okay. Okay.
Right. But with my strategy, I started seeing results.
Right.
With doctor strategy, there was no guarantee.
Nothing. Nothing. Yeah.
Right. So I have to pay about $300 out of my pocket every month for the medication.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then every few weeks I had to go get checked
Hmm.
and the blood test and everything. I was spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars,
Yep. Yep.
which I didn't have.
Right. Well, that's
Right.
part of the system, right? That they trap people in.
So it's just nothing works. So I said, you know what? Let me believe in my own self. And universe somehow, some way put me in that situation to believe in my own self.
Awesome. That's perfect. That's what the universe is there for. That's what
And
that's
it,
what
it took me years. It took me some
Yeah.
time.
And it takes a lot of people a lot of time. It took me a lot of time too, and I'm still working on it. You know what I mean? It's
It's
like,
like reprogramming yourself, right? For example, like,
yeah,
for 20, 30 years, you're injected with certain things and you believe in that so much.
yeah,
It's not going to come overnight like
right,
this.
right. There's a
You
lot of
can be impatient.
retraining. Yeah, yeah.
But the only thing you could do is believe. If you start to believe in your own self. So I started doing water therapy. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So I got into a lot of cleansing with fire
Hmm.
and a lot of cleansing with water and water therapy.
What is cleansing with fire? I have not. I don't think I've even heard of that.
So what happens is you clean your energies of the house. So I started cleaning the energies of the house. I started doing this called a oven. So what you do is you take a small casket or
Hmm.
something small like a pot or something,
Hmm.
put some wood in there, and I don't expect people to do it at their house. So I don't want them to burn their house down. But that's what
Right. Good
I
disclaimer.
started understanding the concept of fire.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Fire can cook and it could destroy.
Yeah.
Fire can heal and it cleans the energies.
Wow.
The smoke of the fire, if you have it in the pot, you're holding it and you just burn it and sit down and meditate around it, play some uh, music, that's a meditation music around you. That has to be certainly loud because the frequencies has to be there for you to feel that vibration of those sounds,
Hmm.
because your
Hmm.
body needs to be healed and your house has to be healed.
Hmm.
So I started doing house cleansing and I started doing body cleansing by water and house cleansing by fire.
Wow. So is there a similarity to like a sage?
It's similar to sage, but I took regular dry wood. You
Right.
burn it, put some butter
But
on
I
it
mean,
if you want, put oil
energetically
on it.
and with intentions and the energy of it is
And
similar
you have
to.
to make sure you have a sound system that plays loud Zen music,
Okay.
like calm, collective, soothing music.
Every night when I go to sleep, that's what I put on.
And you dive into those and then let the fire be within the pot, but make sure it's secure enough That you're
Right.
not burning yourself down, burning the house down. It should be small enough at the same time.
Sure, sure, sure.
If you can't do none of that, takes what do you call that, incense.
Right. Well, I have
There you go. If not something like that, you sit down and let
yeah,
the smoke be whatever it is.
yeah,
Let the music play, and just dives yourself into that music
yeah,
and experience that moment
yeah.
of fire cleansing the whole house.
Right,
And all the negative energies are being pulled out, because
right,
what happens is a lot of people come to houses, a lot of come to business places, but they don't know how to clean it because people leave their negative vibrations in there.
right.
We're all magnetic,
Yeah.
and negative energies are more attractive than positive energies because we've been told since a young childhood that
Interesting.
to attract negativity. I'll be honest with you, till up to 4 to 5 years old, we are good.
Hmm, hmm.
We don't know anything about negative or positive.
Right,
We just know how to be.
right.
But the moment we start to understand some kind of dialogue or some kind of maturity we start to have on understanding what things are, we start to get injected by a lot of things,
Hmm.
what's good and what's bad,
Right,
and we start to get programmed.
right,
By the age of 22, 20 to 25, we are completely lost.
right,
We have no clue what we're doing. We have no career. We have no path. We are lost. We have no guidance. And we are just changing paths time to time, because we're trying to figure out who we are. Because we are at 5 years old, we got disconnected.
right.
But at that time, if we were to be told, sit down, take a deep breather, it's okay. You want to jump around? Go ahead, jump around like monkeys.
Hmm.
But once you're done, sit down.
Right,
Grab a child, cuddle him, and breathe with him.
right.
Breathe with the child. Automatically, the child is going to start breathing the way you are breathing, because child is replicating you.
Mm.
By nature, they have to. They're monkeys at that
Right,
moment. They're
right,
little
right, right,
puppies. They're little babies. They need to do fun stuff.
right,
So let them get exhausted right before going to sleep.
right, right.
Right after that, put them in the bed. Put your hand on top of their head, and start to breathe. And the moment you're breathing, calmly talk to them.
Mm.
And the moment you start to talk to them like this, automatically they will start to listen. And
Mm.
the moment they start to listen, they start to pay attention
Hmm.
to the breathing. And the
Hmm.
moment they start to pay attention to the breathing, you could teach them whatever you want to in life.
Hmm.
They will never lose those moments, because if you're a child and you're grown up, as you are grown up, I'm a grown up, we always go back to the old food that we
Hmm.
love to eat, no matter how disgusting or how weird or
Hmm.
how non welcoming it is to many people.
Right.
But we end up going to back to that food for a reason, because we are looking for that child comfort.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the moment we start to pay attention to what happens at that time, automatically we start to get connected.
Right,
And more you do something like that with your child, by the age they're 18 to 20 years old, they're more focused.
right,
And the reason they're lost is because they've been taught what's good and bad. And they're 25 years old, they have no clue what's good and bad for them.
right, right.
And
Yeah, definitely think yeah, I think parents need to be more accountable for how they raise their kids and
I mean,
that's
there's a lot of topics I could talk about. Like,
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I want to just address a comment here. Tim in Brazil says the honey we use. This is when we were talking about the ginger and the honey. Is from my in-laws' farm in Rio de Janeiro. They make it fresh. It tastes a bit different from the honey in the States. My uncle in North Carolina actually owns a bee farm. Dude, Tim, send me some honey, man.
you took words out of my mouth.
I
Here,
would
Tim,
love it.
brother, send
Honey
some
is
money, man.
yeah. Send honey. Send more. Send more. And then Tim's also saying, I hear you, Rich. I spent a lot of moments I didn't have a lot of money. I think he's trying to say a lot of money I didn't have on my medical issues. Tim has had a lot of medical issues. Luckily, I got my insurance for my last two surgeries. My vocal implants was over 500,000, and his gastrectomy was over a million. Yeah, Tim's had a rough. Tim's had it rougher than most. Let's just say that. And he was on the show actually a while back. And again, I think it's so amazing to me to hear these stories that people have been through such adversity, and the way that it's affected them is it's created such a huge heart and such compassion for a world that really needs it. I think that's also, I think that's a byproduct of that hamster wheel, is that there is no compassion when you're on that hamster wheel. You're just kind of, you're so focused on the hamster wheel that that's all there is. And thankfully, like you said, and like we both know, there's spiritual communities out there of people who are kind of willing to take a chance and even talk about the fact that there's something outside of that hamster wheel, because sometimes the people on the hamster wheel don't know that there's something outside the hamster wheel. So when you start to talk about it, they're like, you're crazy.
Yeah. But if, listen, Tim ever needs help in healing himself, I could actually guide him through and teach him that type of meditations or concentration breathing.
Absolutely. So you know what? I mean, this is not your personal information, but I did put, and I do want to spend a couple of minutes talking about what you do. But Rich is part of an amazing real estate team, which is very outside of the conversation that we're having now. So we'll get there in a minute. I do want to continue. Tim, if you're interested, get to me and I'll hook you up with Rich. Rich is a mindfulness coach, and Tim has also an amazing story. And I think Tim, through all of his adversity, has kind of come to his own ways of spirituality, which is why I think he's a viewer of the show, because he kind of resonates with everything, but he's also got his very, very unique perspective, that he's seeing the world through. And it's led Tim, just so you get to know Tim a little bit out there listening, it's led Tim to meet a beautiful woman in Brazil, which is why he's in Brazil, and get married, and they have a baby now,
Congratulations.
and through all of his adversity, which includes so many more things we're not even going to talk about, he's really, the universe has rewarded him with happiness and joy,
It's
which is
positive thinking. It's all has to do with positive thinking.
absolutely, absolutely. So much. There's so much power in that. There's so much power in that. Um, I do want to. We still have about 10 minutes or so, and actually, there's no hard stop or anything that we've got to do unless you've got to go to bed. But I do want to just give a shout out to KW Legendary and what you do on the other side of this part of living, which is really the awareness and the consciousness and the things you probably don't talk about in the real estate office. Or, like I said, I've really enjoyed some of the people that I've met and worked with, because I do find that there is a lot of people in the real estate lifestyle who also have a mindfulness lifestyle, or are just very, maybe it's not always about spirituality, but it's certainly about motivation and
Right.
intention, and understanding accountability for, no one's going to give you anything in life. You need to do it. You need to do something to get something, and you need to be something to get something. um and you are, and you can, but a lot of people just haven't figured it out. So I do find the people at KW Legendary and a lot of the people that we work with at the studio have found that, and are very, very loving people, happy people, which again you don't really find. You said a lot of people are miserable out there, and it's tough to see as somebody who has found happiness, and not only found happiness but realized how simple it is to find happiness. It's tough to see all of these people out there suffering, which is why I'm doing this, I guess, why I like to have these conversations, because sometimes it just takes me talking to somebody that somebody else can relate to, you know what I mean, and be like, oh yeah, I kind of get what that guy's saying, and all of a sudden some lights go on, and some ripples are made,
Right.
and we've made the world a better place somehow.
Yeah. I do teach mindset coaching in my KW at the same,
Oh yeah, so
Yes.
let's talk about that. That's a great
Yeah, but you know what it is just like
overlap.
I'll tell you, like mindset is motivating people and working on people's mindset is my natural given gift and passion.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's something, it keeps me alive from inside. If I could help somebody out,
Hmm.
it brings me such a pleasure,
Absolutely.
because I strongly feel that there's a mantra that I learned a couple of years back, which I didn't know before.
Hmm.
And it's a very simple mantra, but it's very complicated at the same time.
Let's hear it.
It's called Bless Me So I Could Bless Others.
Okay. I love it already.
Usually we say bless you, right? But this one is I would love to bless other people, and I want people to be blessed, but bless me too at the same time.
Hmm.
Because the knowledge that I receive, the gift that I have, the way I think, if I could impact and change or enhance somebody's life by my simple words, it's the pleasure is next level.
There's nothing like it. Yeah, there's nothing like it. And I got to say that's something I never expected as well. And from the show, when I started the show, just a couple of episodes in, I got contacted by some people who said, "Thank you. You helped me so much just by making them realize that you should have a good outlook." You know what I mean? Just
That's
as
it.
simple as
Bless
that.
me so I could bless others.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
at the same time, it's a real estate is a very lonely world, just like anything else out there,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So
Yep.
people need to connect,
Yep.
but they have to think beneficial thought for themselves. And how do you do that?
Right.
Because it's your life gets to you so much that you don't know how to get out of it.
That's right.
So if somebody comes as a sweeper, as a janitor that could sweep the whole place up and teach you how to sweep it time to time,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's who I am.
It's a
I
great. I
sweep.
love that. I love that analogy. That's great. And I see the quiet healer is out there. What's up, quiet healer? Good to see you. Thank you for coming by. Uh, and Tim says, I definitely got some honey for you. So I'm excited about that. We got some honey coming our way, Rich. I'll share some with you for sure when it comes. That's awesome. Yeah, again, it's so great to talk to people like you who just kind of really, like I said, we're on the same frequency, and it's very validating when you meet people that are on the same frequency, and you're like, you don't feel so, out of place, and you don't feel like you're preaching. Sometimes people make you feel like you're preaching just because you're happy and you're saying, hey, you don't have to be miserable. And that was an important lesson I learned. I talked about it last week on the show, but there was a person in my life who was getting angry at me and throwing a lot of real negativity towards me because they were saying that I was self-righteous and I was judging everybody, because a lot of times I would react to him by saying, man, you're really cynical, and I wasn't judging him, but I was trying to help. It was my way of trying to be like, hey, you don't have to be so cynical. But it was like it backfired, and he just got madder at me, and that was my lesson in life, was like, some people just want to be miserable, and let them be who they are, because you know you want
I'll
them
tell you
to let you
something.
be who you are, right?
I'll tell you something. People find comfort.
Absolutely.
As human nature, it's if you're disturbed, regardless of how you could be in a miserable minded state and continuous basis,
Hmm.
but you're so habitual to it that we
Hmm.
find comfort in that.
That's right. Comfort zones has also been a big topic, is comfort zones.
So to break out of the comfort, it's it's so hard that it takes a lot of work, and many people don't have the capability to do it.
Hmm.
First thing. Second thing, I always make sure that I learned in sales, right?
Hmm.
Always target your audience. Always. Don't say something to somebody that's not going to take your word for it.
Right.
If you're selling your words, because we are all buying and selling,
Right.
right? We are all doing a trade of respect.
Right.
I respect you, you respect me back. I'm
That's
listening to you, you're listening to me back.
right.
That's all we are doing.
Right.
Nothing more, nothing less. We are simply doing a trade of respect.
Right.
Only then we are talking and listening to each other.
Right.
But if somebody doesn't is not doing the trade of respect, that's not your audience.
Right.
And that's how I narrowed it down to, and that's how I do business.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Well, you know what, and it took me a little bit, because I did care about this person, and I wanted to continue to have them in my life, but I realized, hey, you know what? Like,
Sometimes, yeah,
I can still love you and be like, go be miserable, you know what I mean? And just not give you my energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not give you
They
my
are who
time.
they are, right? Like
Exactly.
I look back into nature,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
We are flowers. We all different flowers. We
Hmm.
give our own fragrances.
Yep.
Right? Somebody's a cactus, somebody's a rose, somebody's a lily, somebody's a tulip. We are
Right.
all different. If we could resonate with each other's frequencies in the sense of each other's nurturing and caring and the smell that we give off, that the thoughts and the energies that we give off,
Hmm.
that's fine, perfect. But the moment somebody's a cactus, it's poking.
Right.
You are who you are. You're still a plant. No
Right.
disrespect, right? But we
Right.
just cannot be. It's not happening. That's how I see it. That's how I
Yeah,
see
yeah,
things.
that's right. And you know what? They all have their place. A cactus has its place, and it's around other cactuses in the arid, dry areas. And you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason for all of that. And those are great analogies, Rich. I love the way you think.
I appreciate you, man.
It's really been a great pleasure talking to you. And I'll have to have you on again, and we'll have to get together IRL in real life. Uh,
Yes,
because we certainly have a lot to talk about.
a lot.
And once I get that honey, maybe we'll have a reason. We'll get together and we'll
Sure,
drink some ginger water with honey.
definitely. I could even let next if you want to put me on next session whenever that is. I could actually go into uh, the spirits of if you're a young spirit, old spirit, or a mature spirit, or what type of spirit you are, how many times you've been on the earth, and
Oh wow! Do
yeah,
you
yeah,
do
yeah.
you do you offer those kind of services to people, or
I'll
or
talk about it, and then we'll go deeper
Okay,
into it,
okay.
right?
And you know what, I was going to ask you that too. When you said you were doing cleansing, fire cleansing of your own house, do you do that for other people too?
I would love to. I haven't
Mhm.
practiced it outwards, but I have done
Mhm.
it for my own self and has done a lot of healing. And I've done it for my friends because I love them.
Right.
But if somebody wants it,
Yeah, I think there's a need for it. I think people are starting to. I mean, I know my girlfriend, she's a Reiki master, and she actually has cleaned people's houses, and people have called her, just kind of felt guided to call her and say, "Hey, do you do this?" And she's like, "Well, I know how. I can do it for sure." And I mean, so I
yeah, I
think
do. I do fire cleansing.
it's a
I
growing
do
thing.
energy
Yeah.
cleansing in the house, and I do energy cleansing of people's bodies. And I there's a lot I could like. I've studied on that for like a good amount of time in my life. I've devoted
Awesome.
my life to it. But at the same time, I love real estate, so I had to stick to real estate because to provide for my family.
There
That's
you
one of the
go.
driven
But
factors
you've
that I
got you've
enjoy
got
so
a
much
great
of it.
balance. You've got a great balance. And
So
it's
spirituality I love, that drives me, and to move people, to push people, to motivate people, to 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 see them and feel them excited towards their life.
right.
And if I could contribute something towards it, it's a blessing.
Absolutely.
At the same time, if I could earn money and protect my family and grow my family into a much more comfort zone
Hmm.
where I don't have to think about many other things and I could still focus on helping people out,
Right.
it's a combination.
Another blessing. Another blessing.
Right? I'm helping people
Yeah.
buy and sell and invest
Yeah. Yeah.
in real estate.
Yeah.
I do investment myself. I even teach people how to do real estate investments.
Well, we're definitely gonna have to talk some more then too.
So we have this is a small 1 hour session with a small purse. You know that, Mike, or
Absolutely.
Mr. Zin, as I called you.
Mr. Zin, I love it. Tim says, I've been so blessed. I feel guilty asking for more, but I'm always asking and hoping for others
Never
to,
feel
to
guilty.
be as blessed as I am.
Never tell them, please. Never feel guilty. The more you ask, the more you receive because
Yeah.
you're meant for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you didn't have those thoughts, that means you weren't meant for it.
Right. No, no, he certainly is meant for it. And he was also saying that he asks other people. So he's like, I hope other people can feel this too, which is, and that's, I can resonate with that. I often, look at someone who might be suffering and saying, I wish you could feel what I feel. I wish you could just
And
see.
I could even teach people on how to heal themselves. And if they need help, if I'm around, I could either sit and I could even sit down with them and try to heal them myself. I've
Awesome.
done that for my son. I've done that for myself, right?
Yeah.
So why not bless me so I could bless others? I've
Yeah.
given a gift, right? I've tweaked it. I've found it. Why not,
I love
right?
it. I love it.
And it's
Yeah.
a pleasure talking to you. And thank you very much for having me on the show
You're
where
welcome.
I could express myself and connect to you in on the next level. And this is a blessing, I tell you.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
doesn't happen every day. And I'll tell you, you are attraction to me because I've been wanted to talk to somebody like you for years,
Awesome.
but I never gave it. Never gave it a thought that it will never happen.
Right.
But I just left it all to universe to make it happen
And there you
when
go.
the time is right.
And there you go.
And this
Absolutely.
is this is all called attractor factor.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's definitely a part of trying to make that connection and connect people to people with that I do this, because I feel like everybody should be connected to everybody else.
Yes,
Um,
especially
and
like-minded people. I love like-minded people.
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Rich. I'm going to put you in the back. I'm going to sign off. Hang out in the back for a minute so I can say goodnight to you after this. But thanks for being here. Um, I believe next week I have. Oh my God, where's my little video? I do have it. I think I have Grace Grella on next week. But anyway, Rich, we'll see you soon. I'll have you back on the show,
Sure.
and I'm going to put you in the back
I'm gonna
room.
give me a cup of water.
All right, nice. Awesome. That was awesome. Rich L from the KW Legendary team. They definitely are legendary. Like I said, I really do. I feel blessed that I get to meet so many different people in my job. That I guess it's a statistics thing. I meet so many people that I always am coming across people who are into the idea of answering what is consciousness. Not a lot of people would answer that question, or some people might look at you a little funny. But you guys know that is my favorite question. Let me clean up a little bit here. I'm going to turn off the banner. If you are interested in talking to Rich, get in touch with me, and I'll connect you. He certainly seems like he's eager to help and heal. Like I said, I do believe it's Grace Grella. I don't want to dig around on my computer and find, but you'll see if you look at the live stream of consciousness on Facebook or on YouTube, you'll see who I've got there next week. Tim, thank you so much for being here. Ninja Kitty, thank you for being here. Quiet Healer, I love you. I love anybody who is here watching me and resonating with this, giving me the opportunity to do this, because this is really cool. I just love it here. So thanks, Rich and Mike. Another amazing show. Thank you, my dear, always being there since the beginning. I love it. All right, I'm looking for my outro movie. I will see you guys next week. I love you guys so much. There it is, the outro.